Okay, so here we go. Today, as it says on the top of your sheet, we're talking about three-dimensional graphing. Right? We've been studying 3D figures for a few days now. Most of what we've been doing has been just looking at these shapes, right? We looked at cones, we looked at pyramids, we looked at prisms, we looked at cylinders, we looked at spheres, we looked at all of these different things. Their nets, their faces, their vertices, and that's great. But today, we are going to take these 3D ideas and map them onto a graph. Okay? We're going to map them onto a graph, in other words, we're going to plot points, and then we will do some calculations using those points. Okay? So, here's what we're doing. First thing, we're going to plot points. And then we're going to do some calculations. The calculations that we are going to do are midpoint and the distance formula. Okay? Being able to graph in 3D is important, even if it's not something we do very often. Some of us have been to see a 3D movie in the past. That's just one example of how we use these 3D ideas in our lives. Okay? We've been to see those. You put on the glasses, you watch the movie, the things come out at you. That's 3D. And that takes math to be able to make happen. Okay? If we look a little bit more closely at it, there's some other ways we use it that we may not realize, right? We might, in some cases, need to be able to compare three different values, right? X and Y are two values. X, Y, Z are three. For example, up here we have, we're comparing improvement in test scores. We have the seniors, how are they doing? We have the juniors. We have how much the juniors' test scores went up in 2000, and then how much they went up in 2010. Same with the seniors, 2000, 2010. So our data points are seniors versus juniors, 2000 versus 2010, and the actual amount that things went up. So there's 3 points. Same thing here, we got some years, we have locations, and then we have how many visitors came. And the very bottom one, we're looking at pattern of rainfall, right? And here's what we have. We have every month out of the year. That's one of our points. One variable for us. The other is what are the years? There's our other point, right? And then of those 2 points, we have actually how much rain we got. And using this, we can figure out that in December of 2009, man, we got a lot of rainfall. But probably not quite as much as in 2010. Oh yeah, let's see, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and July of 2010. Okay? We can compare that, and that gives us the way to compare 3 different variables. So we need to know and be able to plot points on a graph that has 3 axes. I mean, our coordinates are no longer ordered pairs, but ordered triples. Triple being X, Y, and Z. So for example, we might have an ordered pair that has 3 numbers. Okay? Each number is plotted on an axis, right? We have the x-axis. That's kind of been moved from where it was before. It looks something like this. You need to visualize this coming out of the board at you. That's that 3rd dimension, like in the movie when the monster jumps out and scares people. Whatever. Okay? We also have the y-axis. The y now kind of looks like it's in the spot where the x should be. But there's our y. And then the z is the last one, the up and down axis, vertical axis that we had from before. Okay? While graphing, now this is the key, and we'll talk about this more in a second. You have to travel parallel as we plot a particular point. The key is this. Positive for x is forward, coming toward you. Positive for y is to the right. And positive for z is up. Right? Negative then is down, back, or to the left. And the down and to the left should make sense. That's how what we're used to. The forward back is the new piece. Unfortunately, we plot with that first. That makes it a little bit easier. Okay, let's do an example. Let's plot the point. Oh, what's the point? -3, -2, 4. This one's done for you on your sheet. So kind of look up here and see if you can figure out how it happens. The first part we're plotting is the -3. Now we just said for the x-axis, positive is toward, negative is away. So we need to go back 3 spots. There's our x is -3. Okay? Then the y. For y, positive is to the right, negative is to the left. We have to go -2. Now, we don't, listen carefully, we don't do this and go, oh, there's -2, I did it. No, we don't do that. Because now we live up here, right? Our x stopped us right there. That means our y has to go 2 to the left from that spot. And this is where the traveling parallel thing comes in. We need to make parallel. See, these are never going to intersect now. 2 spots parallel. Okay? -2 to the left, parallel to the y-axis. And then we finish with z. And of course, for z, positive is up and negative is down. So now we're going to go up. And once again, we don't go up 4 from 0, 0, 0. We go up 4 from where we stopped with our y. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's where the z takes us. Each color up here, each step up here is one part of the point. The final point lives somewhere up here. Somewhere like, I don't know, back into the closet, and then a little to the left, and then up. It's hard to visualize that. But that's what you need to think about, because that's how we get our depth that happens for 3D. Okay, you have 3 more points to plot. -2, 0, -2. -3, 2, 5. And 0, 4, -3. That's what you have to plot. Okay? So do it right now. Give you about, I don't know, let's see, a minute apiece. 3 minutes. Here we go. Okay, so it's been about 3 minutes, something like that. I really don't know. But let's get these 3 points plotted. We gotta remember how we travel on x, how we travel on y, and how we travel on z. So here we go. The first one you were supposed to do was -2, 0, -2. Now please be checking your work to make sure you got this right. The first -2, that is our x. -2 for x. Remember, positive's coming toward us, negative is going back. We go back 1, 2 spots. Then it says 0 for y. We love anytime we see 0. We don't move. We just stay here, right? We're right there. It hasn't changed. The x brought us there, and now the y keeps us there. And then the z, -2. So we have to go down 1, 2. The z brought us to right there. This here is our point. Now, should you be freaking out if yours doesn't look perfectly like that? Well, no. But you need to keep in mind that, did you travel -2? Did you not go left or right? And did you go down 2 to finish? Those are the key pieces here. You need to travel on each axis, right? Okay, let's do the next one. The next one says, what's the next one say? -3, 2, 5. All these negatives on the x. Sorry, people. -3, here we go. Back, 1, 2, 3. That's where the x took us. 2, +2 on the y. That means we go right, 1, 2. Yeah, the y drops us there. And then 5, holy guacamole. 5 on the z. We're going to go up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The z dropped us right there. Our point, -3, 2, 5, looks something like that. Okay, and something I want to point out to you as you're doing these, right? For the x, it's pretty easy because your arrow, like, lines up. Each arrow is a block. The y is a little tougher, but what you want to do is try to make it so that each arrow is about a block, okay? It's not going to be perfect. I get that. I'm not expecting perfect from you, but do your best, people. Okay? We have one more to do. The last one to do is 0, 4, negative 3. 0, 4, negative 3. Okay? 0. We don't move. Right? We don't go forward, we don't go backwards. 0 means we stay in the same spot. 4. Okay? Now we're going to travel on the y-axis because we started at 0, 0. So we're going to travel 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. And the y drops us off right there. Okay, that's where the y is. And then we have to do the z. Z takes us down 3. Down 1, 2, 3. And there's our point. 0, 4, negative 3. Interesting, that point looks a lot like 4, negative 3, but with this extra axis, it's different. This is 0, 4, negative 3. Okay, that's plotting. And we have to be able to plot so that we can visualize where some of these points live, right? This one lives here, and then it slides a little over, kind of lives right here, and then it slides over and down. We have some that we have to think like, oh my gosh, it's coming out the board at me. Or it's going way back into the board. Your mind can do that. Your mind can think about how we're doing this. You can't necessarily represent it on paper the greatest, but using your mind, I know you can make it work.